Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Voice Radio. So today, we're going to be taking a look at a couple of Pokemon that don't really have anything in common. They don't have the first starting letter of their name, they don't have the same typing. The only thing they have in common is, I don't think I can justify doing a video about them on their own. And there's only two of them remaining. It's Palossand and Togedemaru. So, let's start off with Palossand, shall we? A Pokemon that often has pretty decent cards. At least interesting cards. So where are we to? Well, 140 for a stage 1 is pretty good. Retreat cost of 4 is great because it means you can use buff padding to get an extra 50 HP. Means you can search it out with Pokemaniac, so that's all lovely. It is a fighting Pokemon, which means you're hitting weakness against stuff like Pikachu and Zekrom. And the weakness of grass is great because with fire decks like Reshiram and Charizard running around, grass decks have run away and hid for the winter. So the basics here are just flat out great. Some of the best basics we see on a Pokemon. What about the attacks? Well, the first attack, free colorless energy, 80 damage. During your opponent's next turn, any damage done to this Pokemon by attacks is reduced by 20. Now, this is a weird one to me, because I want to like this, right? I want to think this is a good attack. I want to be all over this. You are hitting a good weakness, but the problem is, even if you add in Diancie Prism Star, which you should be as a fighting Pokemon, you're doing 100. Which means, double with weakness, you're hitting 200. Now, to be fair, with or without Diancie Prism Star, you are getting a one-hit KO on Dedenne, which is lovely. But you're not getting Pikachu and Zekrom. You're not even all that close to Pikachu and Zekrom, which is kind of annoying. And then, if you're not hitting for weakness, you're just not really getting very much. You know, Zapdos? No. Volcanion? No. That non-GX? Alolan Ninetales? No. Even with Diancie Prism Star, you're not KOing those Pokemon. And then we look at the damage done to you. Well, okay. You got 160 HP. Essentially, because they're reduced by 20. Even if you add in a buff padding, you're up to 210, and that sounds lovely. But Reshiram and Charizard are still going to get a fairly easy KO. Now, to be fair, with buff padding, this does make a difference. Because with buff padding, you go to an effective HP of 210, and then something like Gardevoir and Sylveon cannot get a KO. It means Blacephalon has to Lost Zone 5 energy to get one prize, and they are not going to be able to do that for the entire game. They will run out of energy. They'll have to essentially pick a different tactic, which is kind of nice. And to be fair, even if you don't have buff padding, you go from a HP of 140 to an effective HP of 160, which will mean that a full blitz from Pikachu and Zekrom won't get a one-hit KO. Which sounds great, and is great. But the problem is that Raichu and Alolan Raichu with their Tandem Shock attack does do 160 if they became active this turn. But then again, buff padding will save you from that. It's a fine attack, but there's a lot going on here. And then, of course, you need to really use triple acceleration energy to use it, and you can only play 4 and it falls off at the end of your turn. You could use stuff like Welder with it being a colourless deck, or a colourless attack anyway, but then you got to find a third energy, and there are better uses for Welder. We do have that new Groudon coming that lets you attach 2 fighting energy from your hand to one of your Pokemon as an attack, so maybe you use that, but then you're running into a very slow deck. I just don't know if it does quite enough damage or protects you quite enough for the energy investment, and you're not hitting the numbers, really. If I'm putting a triple acceleration energy onto a fighting type Pokemon, especially when it isn't a basic, I do expect to be getting a one-hit KO on Pikachu and Zekrom, and right now I'm not. But maybe the second attack can help us out here. 1 fighting, 3 colourless energy, Earthquake, 150 damage, and it's Earthquake, so it does 20 to all of your benched Pokemon. Fun fact that was pointed out to me by the lovely Antoine Boulet, Earthquake has been doing bench damage to yourself since base set Doug Trio came around in the very first expansion. But you're doing 20 to yourself, 20 to all of your bench Pokemon. That's not good, ladies and gentlemen, that's not good. And Mew doesn't block it because it's your attack, not your opponent's attacks. And the damage is fine, because you're getting a one-hit KO on Pikachu and Zekrom, and you're getting a one-hit KO on Raichu and Alolan Raichu, and with Dynasty Prism Star to pop it up to 170, you are getting a KO on almost every non-GX, but you're not even getting up to Jirachi here without Dynasty Prism Star. So it's like, well, it's another one of those attacks that KOs non-GXs and weak GXs. And is that good enough for a fighting and free colourless energy? I don't think it is. I think there are way better fighting Pokemon we've got for this level of investment. And the fact that it does 20 to all of your bench is kind of a kick in the teeth. Or the stones that someone arranged on Palossand to try and make it look like teeth. Those things. What about Togedemaru then? The last Pokemon from Alter Genesis about which we need to have a chat. Well, I mean, it's not got good basics, but we kind of expect that. 80 HP is low, but not low enough to use Professor Round's Lecture, which makes me a little bit sad. Retreat cost of 1 does mean that we can use U-turn board, which, you know, always nice if you can get a bit of U-turn board going on. Weakness to fighting is not ideal because people are trying to take out Pikachu and Zekrom. Anyone hitting them for weakness will be hitting you for weakness. And resistance to metal. It's nice to have a resistance, but metal's not terribly relevant at the moment. Cool. What does it do? Well, the first attack for 1 colourless energy. Search your deck for 2 basic Pokemon, put them onto your bench, shuffle your deck. It's fine. It's not terribly unique. The Shaman from Ultra Prism has the exact same attack. That's fine. But, yeah. It's not, I mean, it's fine, right? And look, I know we're in a format at the moment where we don't have great Pokemon search. We don't have Ultra Ball, and we don't have Nest Ball, and all of that. But we've still got Professor Round's Lecture, and for Psychic and Dragon Pokemon, we've still got Mysterious Treasure. And we got some other stuff running around as well. It's aggressively fine. The problem is, we don't have a great way to search out Togedemaru anyway, so yeah. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. I'm underwhelmed by this. But what about the second attack? Is the second attack any better? No. No, it really isn't. 1 lightning energy. This attack does 20 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon. Oh. Cool. Now, to be fair, you are a lightning Pokemon, which means you can use Electro Power to boost your attacks. So if you're hitting to the active, you know, you could do up to 140 for 1 energy. Just use all 4 Electro Power in 1 turn and boom. You're almost doing enough to KO a Dedenne. Lovely. No. No. Put it this way, right? Let's say you really want to play Togedemaru. You're obsessed with playing Togedemaru. You want that 20 damage to the bench. Well, might I interest you in the Mew from Unbroken Mons? Because you see, the Mew from Unbroken Mons, for a colourless energy, not a lightning, places 3 damage counters. Which means, number 1, you're doing 10 more damage. Number 2, you do not have to put all the damage onto one Pokemon, you can spread it around. And number 3, it's not blocked by other Mew. Mew will block Togedemaru, Mew will not block Mew. And of course, if you're playing Mew to drop the 3 damage counters, oh look, you also happen to be able to block bench damage at the same time as well. I mean, come on, ladies and gentlemen. This is not good. I am giving Togedemaru between 1 and 2 Wassies. We don't give half Wassies, that would be barbaric. You've got an attack which plenty of other Pokemon have, combined with an attack which is really not good at hitting the bench. Palossand can have between 2 and 3 Wassies. Again, no half Wassies, you know the deal. It's fine, but there are just plenty of other fighting Pokemon at the moment that are on my list way ahead of it. But I would like to know what you think about these Pokemon, ladies and gentlemen, so let me know in the comment section. Go nuts! Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWassy, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that, head on over to patreon.com/PTCGRadio, where you can do exactly that. And please do make sure you're checking out youtube.com/WassyPlays, where we talk about a whole bunch of games that don't even have any Pokemon in. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.